Look, I like Pokemon, and statistically, you probably like it too. It's the highest grossing video game franchise after all, releasing quality titles such as... If you couldn't tell, that was a joke! Pokemon game prices, Pokemon game quality. I was like, you know, some random Pokemon browser game from the 2010s is probably better than what Game Freak is pumping out nowadays. But there's no way that's true. So I found this list of Pokemon browser games on Reddit. I'm gonna be seeing if I'd rather play this for free or I'd rather pay the $60 to $70 to play a real Pokemon game. And to make it fair, I'm just gonna pick a game at random. So this is Global Pokédex Plus, and it is... I don't know what it is. Honestly, this barely even looks like a game and looks more like a forum page. So I'm just gonna look through all these tabs real quick and try to understand what this game is about.
A few moments later.
So I think this game is just about getting eggs and hatching them? I'm still not really sure, to be honest, so let me just check Google just to make sure. Look, this Reddit page might help me out. Oh, I also learned that there are like 1,000 of these games that you can find online. Well, it still might be too early to cast judgment on this game, so let me try hatching some of my own eggs just so that I can get a better feel of what I'm playing right now.
1 hour later.
Ooh, this is gonna take a long time, isn't it? But that's okay, because you know what? For games like this where you aren't actually actively playing, there's a better way to experience it. Should you go AFK while you wait? Go outside and touch grass? Just stop playing again, but this time italicized. But if you picked A, go AFK while you wait, you're wrong. In fact, if you picked any of these choices, you were wrong, because the best way to play an AFK game is to find another AFK game and play that one while you AFK in this game. Yeah, and I found this game by literally searching up Pokemon browser game and then just clicking the first game that showed up. The name of the game is PokeClicker, and the way the game works is that you click. Well, that's it. I have nothing else to say. Why are you still here? Okay, but what the game is actually about is that you have to journey through the Kanto region, defeat gyms and dungeons and all that jazz, but at the end of the day, you do it all by just clicking. Wait a second, why does my game look kind of different? To be honest, it was pretty fun when I did play, until I got to the point where I needed to grind, and the best way to grind without hurting your hand is to just let the game click for you. So if you're a smart fellow who's catching on what I'm putting down, what happens if I need to grind and level up in this game and wait for the eggs to hatch in the other game, therefore needing to AFK in both? Welp, this is how. And it's still not done.
1 hour later.
Alright, I can finally hatch the egg, and I got this little goober. And I don't know what to do with him. And it was at this moment that I realized that this game was just a glorified Tamagotchi. So my plan was that I was gonna play the game and I was gonna be like, you should play this game over the modern Pokemon game because this game might not be as good, but given that it's free, it is worth it. But I wouldn't even say that that's true for this game, so I'm just gonna completely forgot that I played this. Fuck the Reddit page, I'm picking the games now. The next game that I decided to pick was Pokemon Tower Defense. And if I had to give a comparison, if that game was Cookie Clicker but Pokemon, then this game is Bloons Tower Defense but Pokemon. The only difference is that this game is a lot more fun. But now you might be wondering, why is this game good? Well, other than the fact that you actually have a game to play, what makes this game fun is that it's actually challenging. But then begs the question, what do I mean by challenging? Well, the game is very complex, and to highlight that, let's compare it to Bloons Tower Defense, the game it probably was based off on. In Bloons Tower Defense 6, there are 24 monkeys, 16 heroes, and 15 powers. The only thing that I think that was a bit complex about the game was the multiple paths that you can take for each monkey, albeit each monkey only has 3 different paths that you can pick from. Once you pick a path, upgrading is pretty linear. On the other hand, in Pokemon Tower Defense, each Pokemon has a large move pool that you can pick 4 moves from. This makes the process of building your Pokemon very interesting. For example, look at this Kakuna. Currently, it's using Poison Sting, which just does damage and has a chance of poisoning the target. While the damage is nice, it doesn't really change the fact that I'm failing this mission way too many times. So I changed this move to String Shot, which makes it so that each Pokemon that it hits actually just slows down instead of taking damage. What this means is that while Kakuna is doing no damage, my stronger Pokemon are able to hit each Pokemon way more because they just move slower. Because of this, I was finally able to defeat the mission. But what I think truly sets it apart from Bloons Tower Defense is the fact that you can change its moves in the middle of combat. This means that the gameplay is much more active, as for each Pokemon, you're making sure to change its active moves so that it uses the best move for the current situation. A simple use was Mankey. Mankey is a strong physical attacker, knowing moves such as Seismic Toss, Karate Chop, and Low Kick. But it also knows Focus Energy, a move that does no damage but gives Mankey a long-lasting buff that boosts its crit chance. What this means is that for Mankey, the best way to use him is to use Focus Energy and then switch your move to Karate Chop or any other damaging move so that each move does more damage. Then once the buff runs out, switch back to Focus Energy, use it, and then switch back to your damaging move. Then including the fact that you have 5 other Pokemon that can be doing the same thing, you could probably see why this game is a bit more complex. Not to mention the fact that each Pokemon has super effective moves and not very effective moves, and the fact that there are way more effects that I have even yet to discover. There are a lot of ways you can play this game. Overall, I'd much rather play this game for free than pay $60 to $70 for a broken mess of a game. So the score is currently 1-0, right? Alright, so the next game that I picked is Pokemon Auto Chess. And just like the other games, this is also a clone of something else. This time, Riot's Team Fight Tactics. And honestly, this is just really good. I don't really have much complaints about it. But before I talk about why it's good, let me just explain to the people who haven't played TFT or have never heard of it, what auto chess is. Basically, in auto chess, you buy units and then you place them on a board. Then the game picks an opponent for you in which your units fight by themselves and you just watch. You can make your units stronger by either buying stronger units, upgrading the current units by buying duplicates of them, or buying items and putting it on the units to make them stronger. You have a set health bar, and depending on if you win or lose your battle against your opponent, you lose HP. Once you lose all your HP, you are eliminated. Last player standing out of 8 wins. There's also stuff like synergies and the carousel, but I'm not gonna delve too deep in that. All that you need to know is that Pokemon as a franchise works perfectly for auto chess, and this fan-made non-profit browser game completely and perfectly executes on that idea, at least in my opinion. So yeah, each game lasts quite a bit of time, and I was able to play like 2, and I lost both of them because the game is kind of hard. But it's still really fun though, and you should give it a try. So normally I'd be like, this game is way better than the $60 Slot Fest, which it is. But it's come to my attention that there's actually an official Pokemon Auto Chess, and let's be real, I think the fan-made version completely mogs this one. So yep, point goes to fan-made browser game. So that's it. Best out of 3 Pokemon browser games wins, right? Well, let's just be completely honest, these games are a completely different experience to a AAA official Pokemon game. The Pokemon browser games are just silly little games that you play casually for fun, while the official games are a 40-hour RPG that you are meant to experience. So if the games truly can't replace each other, what was the point and the message of this video? Well, if you want a casual, fun Pokemon game that you play just a little bit, the browser games are definitely the way to go. But if you want the authentic Pokemon RPG experience, don't play the real games, play the fan games. You can find them online for free. It's me, Mario! If you made it to the end, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!